السلام عليكم. اليوم نقدم لكم تقرير، آخر تقرير عن مشاريع السكك الحديدية في الجزائر باللغة الإنجليزية. إذن اليوم مع آخر تحديث عن نسبة تقدم الأشغال وعن مستوى إذن تقدم الشبكة الوطنية للسكك الحديدية، مع التطرق إلى كل المشاريع التي انطلقت فيها الأشغال في السنوات الأخيرة، من جهة الشمال إلى الجنوب، من الشرق إلى الغرب. كل المشاريع اللي راهي ما زالت ماشية. إذن نترككم تتابعون هذا التقرير العالمي باللغة الإنجليزية عن إذن مشاريع السكك الحديدية في الجزائر، من إعداد الوكالة الوطنية لدراسة ومتابعة أشغال السكك الحديدية.
Positioned at the gateway between Africa and the wider world, Algeria is undergoing a profound strategic shift in its transport infrastructure, anchored by a sweeping national project to modernize and expand its railway network. Steel tracks are being laid across the country's vast and varied terrain, linking north to south, east to west, building not just connectivity, but a new blueprint for integrated development. This ambitious overhaul is powered by a clear political vision and brought to life through larger-scale construction sites unfolding across the nation. In just a few years, Algeria has transitioned from a modest rail system to the largest expansion of its kind since independence, now exceeding 5,000 kilometers of operational lines. The objective is strategic and far-reaching, to stitch together the country's regions and to position Algeria as a key rail gateway to the African continent. At the center of this transformation stands the national agency under the authority of the Ministry of Public Works and Basic Infrastructure. Tasked with planning, design, and oversight, the agency ensures every project meets the highest standards of engineering precision, safety, and efficiency, laying the foundations for a transport system that reflects both Algeria's ambitions and Africa's future. The Northern Line, stretching along Algeria's coastal belt for approximately 1,825 kilometers, forms the backbone of the national railway network. It connects all major coastal cities from the eastern border to the far west, while also linking key strategic hubs such as ports, industrial sites, and major urban centers. One of the key pillars of this new railway era is the High Plateaus line, stretching 1,162 km from the eastern to the western border. This line establishes an internal corridor that complements the traditional northern route. It connects provinces long excluded from rail transport, breaking the isolation of the high plateau regions. The line is transforming these cities into vital logistics hubs that support agricultural and industrial output and enable faster product distribution to markets and ports. It has also fostered a more attractive environment for investment and reinforced the integration of inner regions into the national transport system. Meanwhile, the Trans-Saharan Railway project is steadily progressing, embodying one of Algeria's most ambitious continental infrastructure goals. As sections are completed and others are under construction, the 439 km line is more than a geographic link, it's a national vision of regional integration. Passing through promising agricultural areas and key energy hubs in the Algerian Sahara, the line will function as a multi-purpose logistics platform, bolstered by Algeria's strategic plan to activate free trade zones in the far south. This southern economic corridor will serve as a logistical artery connecting Algerian production to African markets, turning the Trans-Saharan line into a vital route between the Sahel and the southern Mediterranean. On the western and eastern fronts, Algeria is taking bold steps to solidify its continental position in production and export chains through large-scale railway projects. The Western Mining Line, stretching over 950 km, is one of the continent's largest infrastructure undertakings. It connects vast iron ore deposits in the deep southwest with processing and export zones, enabling Algeria to emerge as a key supplier of raw materials to African and global markets. The project also stimulates economic and social activity in desert regions, while laying the groundwork for overland rail links with West African countries, positioning Algeria as a pivotal node in Africa's emerging logistics map. In parallel, the Eastern Mining Line is taking shape as a complementary project that reflects Algeria's sovereign approach to resource development and industrialization. Spanning 422 km and across the phosphate-rich heartland near the Tunisian border, this line is the backbone of the integrated phosphate project. It facilitates the movement of extracted materials to local processing plants, and then to domestic and export markets. Beyond its industrial utility, the line is sparking local economic growth, creating jobs, and drawing investment to interior and border regions. In the energy sector, the Eastern Penetrating Line stands out as a strategic priority. At 572 km long, it connects Hassi Messaoud, the country's leading petroleum hub, to the national railway grid, ensuring a reliable flow of fuel and oil products to ports and domestic markets. This project strengthens Algeria's export capacity and its positioning as a key player in regional and universal energy logistics. Aligned with its broader vision for an integrated logistics network, Algeria is connecting its major industrial and agricultural facilities to the railway system. This includes linking the grain silos of the National Office for Professional Cereals to streamline the transport of harvests from major farming zones to storage centers, an important step toward food security. The strategy extends to connecting large industrial zones, fuel depots, and cement plants across the country to the rail network, enhancing distribution efficiency and reducing costs. The unprecedented momentum Algeria is witnessing today in the development of its railway network is far more than an investment in infrastructure. It is a concrete expression of a strategic national choice to position rail transport as a driver of development and a pillar of national sovereignty. This transformation elevates the railway network from a simple means of transport to a strategic instrument for achieving national economic integration and advancing regional cohesion.